but touch my tears with your lips. Touch my world with your fingertips, and we can have forever, and we can love forever. Forever is our today. Who waits forever anyway?
Brian May of the British group Queen penned those lyrics. Who wants to live forever? He wrote it for a 1986 movie called Highlander. Now, the movie storyline is based on a group of immortals who can't age or die. The hero of the film is an immortal, but he falls in love with a mortal. And throughout the film, or lifetime as it represents, he remains young and pristine while the love of his life grows old and eventually dies. The song highlights the emotions felt around the unappealing prospect of having to live forever without the one you love. The song must have taken on new meanings for Freddie Mercury and the rest of the Queen band as they anticipated the death of their lead singer from AIDS. The lyrics go, "Who wants to live forever? There's no time for us. There's no place for us. What is this thing that builds our dreams yet slips away from us? There's no chance for us. It's all decided for us. This world has only one sweet moment set aside for us. Who dares to live forever? Oh, when love must die." And although this is a sort of lamentation, it is still a fair question. Who wants to live forever? We are often prompted to contemplate notions of immortality, enticed by promises of eternal life in heaven or a conscious return to the wholeness of existence upon death. But most of us haven't spent any real time considering what a forever existence might be or looks like. Now, some of us aren't bothered by such notions at all because perhaps we believe that the grave is indeed the final destination. But oblige me if you will. Let's just consider for a moment the view of eternity that many of the mainline religions have. Now, I've been learning, I say this, to love myself, and I like me, folks. But if I had to live an eternity with me, looking at my face all the time, hearing my voice, thinking my thoughts, I would be so tired of me. But if I had to do all that also looking at you. No, I'm just kidding. But wouldn't you think about just like seeing the same old people and hearing the same old voice that you would get tired too? Now I'm just imagining, thinking out loud. But if we can't get excited with the concept of heaven or this eternal forever, then the concept of hell must truly be an absurd and obscene one. How does anyone hold to the belief of living forever in bliss while the ones they love are in a state of perpetually dying, but not being able to? I know people in this service has worked all that out, but think about it. There's a lot of people who actually believe that. Now, I wouldn't want that on my worst enemy, even for those I think who may deserve it. Think about it. I'm in heaven and someone I truly love is dying in hell forever? How could I be in bliss when someone I love? This was the question that the immortal had. How can I live forever? What is love? Who wants to live forever? Because in hell, love dies. I know many of us can't begin to wrap our hearts around such a notion, and we keep trying to wrap our heads around it, but it doesn't work. So give it up, folks. In fact, years ago, things got rather shaky for me theologically when I started to unpack the extreme religious doctrine of an everlasting hell or everlasting dying, forever dying, but not being able to die. This is what probably led to my religious undoing, led me here to you folks. Just as it did for Bishop Carlton Pearson and for so many others. Carlton calls hell the eternal torture chamber. As many of you know, he was kicked out of mainstream Christendom for embracing a form of universalism. Now, I contend that what got folks really upset was not that he said that everyone goes to heaven, but primarily because he dared to say that no one goes to hell. Because people need their hell. When I considered these religious tenets, I realized that much of this is humanity's attempt to answer the questions pertaining to the meaning of life and to provide a way of making death more palatable. The afterlife serves as justice that rights all the wrongs of human suffering. Now, notice that most of the talk of the afterlife is human-centric. There's no voice for the other sentient beings of whom we share this earth, or even of the planet itself, that we use, abuse, exploit for food, clothing, and destroy at will or for our own pleasure. If they had a voice, I would be certain I know where we would end up. And it wouldn't be heaven. But I digress. Life is a paradox, folks, that confronts us with the reality of our mortality, challenging our delusions that we can evade the inescapable reality of our own deaths. But the undeniable truth is that we will all face it someday. We are surrounded by it. It is purported that on average, 3 people die every second somewhere around the world, which means that over 10,000 people die every single hour. That's pretty sobering, folks. And we experience all kinds of loss. There's loss and grief related to relationships, jobs, home, health, and so much more. Some losses seem particularly unfair and unjust, leaving us lingering sense of incompleteness and hopelessness. A loss of a pet can be as devastating of a loss as a close human family member. And we've seen all the heartwarming photos of our non-human loved ones today. Heartwarming. But for some of us, the first loss of a family member, human or non-human, was precisely the time when we first learned that everything that lives eventually dies. Do you remember how you learned about death? And what was the thing that someone said to you at that time? And I remember someone said to me that God picked the prettiest flower out of a garden. Yeah, that still hurts. But do you remember how what you learned made you feel? Our loved ones indeed will leave us. Our hearts will break, we will grieve, and we will miss the ones we love. Now, author Martin Prechtel, in his book, titled The Smell of Rain on Dust, believes that, quote, grief expressed out loud, whether in or out of character, unchoreographed and honest, for someone we have lost or a country or a home we have lost is in itself the greatest praise we could ever give them. Grief is praise because it is the natural way love honors what it misses. Now, I was trying to imagine missing my country, my home, my community. I was thinking about the Ukrainians who are witnessing the destruction of their country. I can imagine the grief that they must be feeling. And while thinking about this, it caused me to rewrite my sermon last night, or shall I say this morning, or shall I say 20 minutes ago? Because within my own home, I had a connection. I witnessed a profound moment yesterday. And I asked him if I could share. He said it was okay. But my partner, folks, is a native of Belarus, a nation nestled beside Russia. He has family now scattered across the globe. His daughter and grandchildren reside in Moscow, Russia. His mother, originally from Ukraine, has called Belarus home for most of her life, and his father remains there as well. But just a few months ago, his younger brother, along with his wife and teenage son, fled Belarus to Israel due to the escalating tensions tied to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. But yesterday, as daylight broke on our side of the world, we were suddenly inundated with news of the devastating conflict in Israel. Relentless militants unleashed thousands of missiles upon Israel, predominantly in the south, as chaos consumed the streets. Reports detailed unspeakable atrocities, including mass civilian executions. Amidst the chaos, my partner was finally able to reach his brother. And I heard his brother's voice falter under the weight of uncertainty and fear, awakening to the harsh reality of war, a concept that our modern minds struggle to this day to grasp or accept, in which our hearts should never attempt to. Now, the brother and his family said that they were okay, but are confined to their homes, fearing the looming pressure of Hamas soldiers. What followed was an impromptu video call uniting my partner here in America, his mother in Belarus, and his brother and family in Israel. Now, their conversation was marked by tenderness and resilience. They shared encouragement, discussed the reality of the state of things, and expressing compassion. What was remarkable, that they expressed compassion for all those involved in the conflict, Palestinians and Israelis alike, and all of those innocents in between. But what was real for me is when he told me that they were discussing tips on how to survive. Now, folks, that brought it all home to me. That was real sobering. Because I had to think about how we are safe here in America. We don't have to fear right now, losing our homes, our community, or our loved ones being harmed. He said his voice broke when he confided in me, my partner, yesterday. He wondered if he would ever see any of them alive again. He expressed gratitude for technology, which served as the lifeline that allowed this precious moment to occur. It served as a stark reminder of life's fragility, the depth of love, and the enduring power of connection. That connection that I had to those 6,000, 8,000 miles away, and that connection now you have by hearing this story. See, it's moments like these that transcend time, etching their presence eternally in our hearts. There seems to always be, however, this constant dilemma between life and death, the struggle between life and death. And we have a tendency to get it out of order. You see, the opposite of death is not life, folks. The opposite of death is what? Birth. And in that brief span of time between birth and death is that little fragile, fleeting thing called life. And life, my friends, is all we have. And it is to be fully lived in each and every moment. The last lines of the Highlander movie's theme song, Who Wants to Live Forever, concludes with the affirmation that we can have forever. And we can love forever. But our forever is our today. The song, or the promise in the song, is that there are some moments in our lives so precious, so poignant, or significant that they can hold eternity within them. Since time available to us is indeed finite, then we best make the most of it, folks. We must do what we can to live and love and truly appreciate what we have and those we have in our lives. We do this by embracing the present. We are often so focused on the future or the past that we forget to appreciate the beauty and the present moment, the beauty who might be just sitting right next to us. Yeah, I saw you look at that person. They are beautiful. C.S. Lewis said, the present is a point at which time touches eternity. We all live in the shadow of eternity, and the present moment is the access point to it. The past is sealed, and the future is yet unclear. The present is staring us in the face, waiting for us to engage with it. So what do we do? The only true, real thing now is we must find meaning in the here and now, in the simple joys and in the connections we share with one another, in those special moments that sometimes take our breath away. For these are the moments that are eternal. And although at times they may speak of death, they always speak of life. These are the moments in which we bring all of our love to bear from that deep reservoir inside that encompasses all of our humanity. That love. The world will not become a more loving place unless we become a more loving people. And we must allow ourselves to feel it all and to express that love until it overflows and touches everything around us. Because our world needs it, so desperately need our love. Those moments are the moments that can change us and also sustain us and heal us and our land. Now, we here in this community value legacy and progress, something that would outlive us, something that would move the world in the direction in which we envision. In this way, we honor our highest ideals with the lives we live and the legacy we leave behind. Now, I often open my eulogies with the words credited to Abraham Lincoln. Quote, "In the end, it is not the years of your life that count. It is the life in those years." End quote. I then go on to add that life is not measured by its span of years, but by the love that is given away. You see, life is lived and love is given in the relationships and the community that we breathe, live, and have our being. In relationships and in community. Many of us here have long discovered the value of community as we search for truth and meaning, as we go through various stages of life, and even as we face death, we recognize the value of community. This community provides us with a solid foundational framework found in the Unitarian Universalist philosophy and principles on which we base our search for truth and meaning in responsible, considerate, and intelligent ways. We draw from a variety of sources, including scientific inquiry, to inform our understanding of the world. It has made us better people because of it. Here we also support and care for one another. We applaud today all of our pastoral care and justice teams who make it their mission and who go out of their way to support our members and the community. And if this is your calling as well, you have the invitation to come and join this caravan of love. This caravan of love that's helping others can bring immense meaning to our lives and can infuse our journey with joy, purpose, and with pure love. For love is indeed forever. Love, an eternal force, transforms this present moment, urging us to live deeply and meaningfully. We find focus, purpose, and hope in the balance between life's brevity and love's enduring essence. So may this present moment illuminate our earthly journey. May our lives be filled with many treasured, timeless moments that are marked by love, wisdom, resilience, and true purpose. Let's remain committed to living together in peace, seeking the truth in love, and helping one another. Because this is what forever looks like. So with purpose and with love, let it be.
Greatest gift of all, the riches on this earth. Life and its creatures, great and small, of high and lowly birth. So treasure it and measure it with deeds of shining worth.